Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to wherever part of the world you are located. Thank you all so much for tuning in again to Truth Be Told TV and family. We thank you all so much. Also, when you come in, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe to the channel so that when we go live, you will get the notifications. Shout out to my family. What's up, Vita? Sid, Kish, Lillian, KC, blessings, ladies. Hope you all had a great day on today. Kish was in the clubhouse rocking it, baby, with that music. Took me all the way back. So you all, we are going to bring you all tonight. Yes, it's Balenciaga's Aggie, whatever you call it, Balenciaga. Well, it's all of them. Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton. It's everybody you can think of. All of them. This is not new. It's been going on. Thank God for the exposure. Okay. Um, Peace, love, and blessings to everyone. Also there will be a continuous on Monday because it's so long with me and Mr. Bass to put together in the back. Then we have another clip to attach to it. So it's going to continue till Monday because we are not going to stay up in here with y'all all night. I haven't had a nap today. But anywho, thank you all so much for tuning in. Once again, shout out, peace, love, and blessings to my family. Trey Lynn, Kish, Vita, KC, sent Mr. Bass. So you all, I'm about to bring Mr. Bass up. And you all just kick back, relax, and we're going to be communicating with you all back and forth. Also, I'm going to be communicating with everyone in the comment section. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Please hit that like button, comment, share, and subscribe. Mr. Bass.
What's happening? How you doing today?
Hey, babe, I'm blessed. I'm better. I haven't had a nap today, but, I've been moving today. How was your
That
day
that
today?
new that new gummy I took last night, man. I slept good and took care of a couple of body aches and pains too. I'm like, okay,
Well, you know what?
so
I need me a couple of. I've never tried them, but you know what? You talk about the pain and all of that, Lisa. I be having. I think my arch. Well, I don't think. I know my arch has fallen, right? Because I
uh,
work so much and I'm always on my feet. So my arch has fallen. So until I literally go in the kitchen and get a can and roll my feet on it continuously for about a week straight to pick my arch up, back up rather. Yeah, I might need some of them.
yeah, they
You
this.
gonna send me some?
You know what? I got these for free. All I had to do was pay shipping and handling, right?
Yeah.
So so I'm waiting for them to send me a email asking me how they were because I don't even remember where I got them from, but it's got a thing on there where I can scan it. So I scan it and see what's going on with it. Yeah, I'll get with you.
Sometimes that free stuff ain't always good now, Mr. Base.
I
And
know.
they already
I,
trying to kill us now, and this ain't
I know.
allegedly. It's the damn truth.
I know. Look, I ain't take but a quarter of it. You remember I told you yesterday? I
Babe,
actually,
I'm gonna have to take a pinch because hey, babe, I'll be like smoking the chicken coop. Look, y'all gonna really be tripping out on me. I don't know where to start, Mr. Bass. Listen, I had to smoke me old joint, J joint, back in it was 96 when Tupac died. It wasn't a joint, it was a blunt. Trying to hang with my oldest brother. Well, really I wasn't hanging with him because he
mhm.
had rolled that he was smoking. Boy, he put it down in the ashtray and I had to got it and lit it up. I was just too high, Mr. Bass. Boy, I was high. I had to feel my way up the steps to the bathroom. I had to touch the sink, the toilet seat to make sure I was in the bathroom. I said, oh Lord, listen, it had me freaking and tripping out. I was like smoking the chicken coop. So for that matter, I have never smoking again. I don't like the smell of it, but however,
Yeah,
all this shit,
I don't.
everything I've been going through in the week, I need a whole goddamn green leaf or what you call them, a backwood, whatever them shouldn't be smoking. Take the
Yeah,
wheel, please.
yeah. I got low tolerance for THC too. So this right here is D8 though. It's not D9.
Okay.
D8, yeah, D8 has very low THC in it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's more of a body high than a head high. So I'm like, okay. I told my wife, I said, you need to try these to help see if I get this some rest. Yeah.
You told Mama Marsh trial.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Look, I don't know, Mr. Bass. I probably need to try. But look, I think we got them little things. They is CBD four or CB4. What is it?
It's it's D8 Delta 8
Okay.
CBD.
Okay, Delta 8 CBD.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not in the country, right? But I think they got one of them places out there. I'm gonna
I
go and check it out.
I'll give you the brand name of this one because that has a lot to do with it where it's coming from. Because
Oh, didn't I just tell you? You better watch it.
yeah, well, all everything that I'm getting, I get from it's from the U.S. So
Hell, you
they
trust the U.S.? They've been killing us for
they
forever and still killing us. You talking about it's from the U.S. like that's so good.
yeah, but this is
It would have been better if you would have said it was from Jamaica.
yeah, it's local though. It's a local.
All righty. Yeah, Mr.
Mhm.
Bates, I'm gonna try them. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I might have to pray about it because y'all probably see me tripping on the live. I
Now
don't know.
each square is 25 milligrams. You don't want to do that. That's for sure. Cut it up in fourths and just take a quarter.
Mr. Bates, I ain't used to that, so I probably have to cut it up
Mm-mm.
in six. You talking about cutting it up in four? They gonna have to be smaller than that.
No, all you need to do is cut it up in four. It like I said, it don't have the D9 in it. Don't have the psychotropics in it.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the what gets you high in even
Yeah,
if
I ain't trying to be high. I ain't trying to
that's what
fly.
I'm saying. Yeah, no, it ain't gonna get you high. It'll make you feel good though and relax.
Relax.
Uh huh.
Okay. Okay. I don't
Yeah.
know. I hope it relaxes me on. I don't know. I ain't trying to be around here flying and now, baby, y'all gonna be tripping out on me. You really gotta run the show then, Mr. Bates. Oh no.
No, you
Shout
want to
out
take
to Matt Man. What's up? Thank you for that info in the back, y'all. Matt Man had dropped me some info. Peace, love, and blessings, Matt Man. He had dropped me some info in the back, y'all, pertaining to it was about the Dolph case though. That old what that ugly woman slash man that was over there it pertaining to the Dolph case. They had locked the female up for the shooting and killing the boy Justin Jaden, whatever his name is, in the mall when he was holding his baby and whatever.
right,
That it was a female. So why is it they saying that the man that was charged for that is in court was in court today, but that was not a man, that was a woman, right? I told Matt Man, I said, oh, the corruption goes on. But yeah,
right.
shout out to Matt Man. Thank you for the information. But yeah, Mr. Bass, I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna have to try, Mr. Bass. Now, if I be over here tripping and thinking I can fly, I'm coming to see about you. Get him,
No,
Mama Marshall.
take it on your day off. The first night you off, you take a quarter of it.
Look at Lillian, Mr. Bass. Oh, she with that shit. You see what Lillian said, Mr. Bass?
I'm
She with
looking.
that shit. She talking about laughing LMMFAO and Boss Lady Feelings. That would be a lit live. She with that shit, Mr. Bass. No. Look, baby, I ain't finna be look. Y'all gonna run a live that night, baby. Y'all be tripping on me. I told y'all. I don't know. Listen, when you don't do nothing, I don't know, Mr. Bass. I probably be too relaxed and I don't know. We gonna see, y'all. We gonna see.
Yeah,
Matter of fact,
no,
I'm gonna go tomorrow and see. So send me that information, Mr. Bass. And it's right before I go to see Fat, right? It's right there, down from where I go see Fat at. So I'm gonna stop right there and I'm gonna see what they got. You need to send me because I don't know what I'm getting. Cause baby, I
Yeah,
been in there told them give me something for relaxing and healing. And baby, they been gave me some shit that I'm gonna be like R. Kelly around here. I believe I can fly. I'm gonna be touching the sky. You see what Lillian said it? All right now, Mr. Bass. So you send
yeah.
me you
I'll let you know by Monday. Because yesterday was the first time I took it. So
okay.
yeah,
Baby, you tell me out Monday, Mr. Bass. I'm off tomorrow. So I'm trying to relax tomorrow
yeah.
in the house.
I'm,
Up
I'm
there
gonna
with
give you.
that.
I'm gonna give you the information tonight.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I ain't finna fool with y'all. But anywho, hey y'all. Thank y'all so much once again for tuning in. See that look, Mr. Bass. I said chewing in. See that I'm ready for one.
Yeah, talking like you
Yeah.
had one.
I know, right? I just feel great right now. So once again, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in to Truth Be Told TV. Please hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe to our channel so when we go live, you will get the notification. Also, shout out to the family in the comment section, moderators, our family. Okay, that's Kish, Traylyn, Vita, KC, Miss Cent, McMahon. Shout out to everybody, y'all. Y'all know me and Mr. Bass had to chop it up. So, Mr. Bass, you ready to get this thing going or not?
Ready to roll.
Oh, yeah, I got me some snacks. Oh, she telling me I got to have some snacks. See there, Mr. Bass? That's what they do when they smoke their, their CB reefer. For my snacks. So I got to have snacks with that.
It didn't. It really didn't affect my appetite.
Oh, baby, that sounds like something. Woo! Reefer. Okay, y'all. So we about to get this thing started, y'all. Mr. Bass, go on, do your thing.
I worked for the company for 7 years, and when the scandal came about, I was stalled and disgusted, and I quit on the spot. And this is for all the celebrities out there. You guys have a voice. You guys make millions off of companies. I'm a single mother with a sole income, and if I was able to take a stand for our children, you can too. And for Balenciaga and Cedric and Demo Vazalia, you guys know what you guys are into. I looked into your guys' history, and it's a rabbit hole. Whoever's there for our children and want to save our children, start searching it and get your word out. Because I'm telling you, this is a spiritual fight between good and evil. And if we don't step up now, guess who's winning? We are not here to lose. We are here to win. Balenciaga, this is just the beginning. You have YSL, you have Gucci, you have McQueen, you have Bottega, and the list goes on of the Kering Group. Kering Group is a cult. Look it up. I work.
So, Mr. Bass, why all of a sudden now they want to come out and start exposing these people? This has been a problem for ancients. Let's certain words I can't say, but family, you all know what I'm gonna say, what I'm about to say when I touch on this, as well as some that are very highly conscious that are in the comment section. Okay, so we've been knowing that this has been going on for quite some time. Not only that, they would, grab them up to get a special type of fluid or liquid from them to be able to contain their young looks and all of this and all of that. So now they no longer can get these things or in these things, everything is being exposed. So when the orange fella said that it's not me that they want, I'm standing in their way. It's not me that they want. I'm actually standing in their way. It's you and your children. So, but they thought that he was lying when he said that. This has been going on, Mr. Bass. So why all of a sudden now they're really exposing it when it comes to these kids? You got Disney. They've been putting it in, in the cartoons for million of years. So This been going on, the exploitation of children. It has been going on. So why all of a sudden now, Mr. Bass?
Facts. Well, the scriptures say that those things that have been done in the dark it's being brought to the light so that
Mm-hmm.
everybody can see it. At first, you just had people knowing that in these different type of groups that really research and do this. As a matter of fact, I dropped a video today, Glenn Beck.
Uh-huh. That's my boy Glenn Beck.
Okay, well, he's interviewing this young lady on there. She's about 33 years old, and she brought out a whole lot of stuff that's going on, and what they're trying to do with all this metaverse and stuff. It's
I,
really
to-
interesting.
I told y'all with that metaverse. Remember I told y'all about that metaverse? They
Hmm.
got, listen, those people that play those games, Mr. Bass, you know them games that them people put them goggle like things on their eyeballs and they have gloves and all this and they be fighting and doing all this. That's
Uh-huh.
kind of like the metaverse as well. They're pretty much like offering spirits. They're allowing spirits to enter in. It's so deep. It's real deep. It's so much that goes with the metaverse, and people want to
Yeah,
play with it.
that VR is just introduction, just like
Yes.
a lot of things. Yeah, the dark side is introducing this stuff slowly but surely,
Yes.
and those who don't see it and jump into it is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. You are so right, Mr. Bass.
Yeah,
Look.
when that thing first came out, them VRs, there's a lot of people that like them. I said, I'm not putting that on my head.
Mm-mm. You got to be crazy to do something like that. But Mr. Bass, hey, that's the world that we're living in. People are so in tune to this world. They don't want to let the world go. So I mean, that's part of it, that they willing to do any and everything to stay a part of it. Okay, so those are the consequences. Listen, those who have eyes, let them see. Those who have ears, also let them hear. Listen, you was right. I know I ain't about to do it. Listen, hey, it's just common sense as well. So you can go on running, Mr. Bass.
Already.
What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, Go Black to Africa. You know, I'm learning a lot about the Jewish community, and thankfully enough, there are those out there, those rabbis, who are sharing that there is this dividing line in the Jewish community of who we don't know that exist, where you have different groups. And in particular, two separate groups where one you would say would be the Orthodox Jews or the religious Jews, and then you would have the Zionist Jews, where you were going to find that the Zionist Jews, of what the Orthodox call them, are the ones who creating the biggest problem, that what we know today, like the ADLs or these anti-Semitic people who throw these issues out here to keep the people divided and fighting. Where the religious Jews are the ones who are the accepting ones, where if somebody apologizes for saying something that offended the Jewish community, they can forgive and they can move forward. These also Jews who are Orthodox also makes claim that they don't stand for the state of Israel, that they say that it was already written in the Talmud that they should not establish a state, that God will return and establish the state. So they oppose the country of Israel or the state of Israel. This fighting that is going on against the Palestinians, they are on the side of the Palestinians, saying that the Israel has evaded and taken over their land. This is a whole total different mindset. And what we are being shown by the media, according to their rabbi, Dovid Weiss, in how he puts it. Watch this video and I'll be back.
This is a sign that conveys the message of what it is to be a Jew. As it says, a Jew, not a Zionist, and pray for the speedy, peaceful dismantlement of the state of Israel. And then it's repeated, mkusa.org, our site for people to go further and see it, the website, and then to see it's in Arabic, the same message. And basically it means that people, unfortunately, around the world see somebody as I am dressed, and they think that automatically I am dressed very religiously. I'm definitely a strong supporter of the state of Israel and of the occupation of the people of Palestine. And in truth, there could be nothing further from the truth.
In truth, what you want is the speedy, peaceful dismantlement of the state of Israel.
Because it's contradictory. Judaism is subservience to the Almighty, practiced for thousands of years, a covenant with God to be subservient to Him. And Zionism is a new movement, a relatively new movement, a transformation from the religion into a base, materialistic, nationalistic movement to have a piece of land, which is forbidden for the Jewish people.
Okay, we'll have to unpick this piece by piece, I think, because for most people, the idea of the state of Israel is fixed within a very rigid framework, and what they understand about the existence of Israel is by and large very uniform, at least according to what you read in newspapers. So let me try and get your position clear on this. What you're saying is that the existence of Israel is somehow against your religion.
The Jewish religion forbids, since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago, we were given an edict, a decree by God, it's a prophecy of King Solomon, that we are not to attempt to recreate our sovereignty, even 1 inch of Jewish sovereignty, even in an uninhabited land, is expressly forbidden. And what we Jews wait for the day when God will make a miracle, where all humanity will serve Him in harmony. We won't have to convince an atheist that there is a God. Everybody will recognize God, and then we will all go up and serve Him. Prior to that event, we are expressly forbidden to try to attempt to make any Jewish nationalism sovereignty, and this was respected and upheld by Jews throughout the trials and tribulations of the Inquisition, the Crusades, and every time period of Judaism when they were easily capable of buying land. They never did it, because they understood this is against the will of the Almighty, and this is not what it means to be a Jew.
Once again, this is not an opinion that you hear expressed very often. Are you in a minority? Is this simply your reading of the Torah?
No, this is the view of Judaism and Jews who are practicing the religion, who are around the world. You will find invariably any religious community that is very religious. We carry around, first we have called the rabbis speak out. This is the leaders of Judaism from Sephardic, Ashkenazic, in other words, European, Middle Eastern, any country. The rabbis, when Zionism came, the concept of Zionism was developed. The Jewish rabbinical authorities universally said, no, this is forbidden for us to do. It's not of subservience to God, it's a nationalism. And in its the state, the concept of stealing from people, killing, stealing, is all forbidden according to the Torah. So in every facet, Zionism is a rebellion against the command of God.
But what about the argument that a lot of them make, and that is that the Bible specifically says that this land was given to the Jewish people by God, and therefore it belongs to them?
That is why Zionism decided when they're making their national home, to make it in Palestine, because really the fathers of Zionism in the 1895, in the 1890s, when they made their first meetings, they discussed making their national home in Uganda, in Patagonia, and because they were anti-religious, Theodor Herzl, Ben Gurion, well, at that time Jabotinsky, Theodor Herzl, these people detested the religion, as we have a compilation of their writings. In his own diary, Theodor Herzl wrote that Jews should convert to Christianity. That would be the solution to the Jewish problem. And it should be done in pride and music. On page 14 of his diaries, we will get to that with God's help. And he didn't circumcise his son. He wrote about this in the newspapers, that he's not circumcising his one son in hands. So they detested religion. They were looking for a practical area of that they would flourish, a land that would be fruitful, and to create a land. But then they realized that practically speaking, you need a massive backing as far as money goes. And the way to get that from the world is to go to Palestine and claim that they're doing God's will, that the beginning of God's redemption, and therefore people should support them, because in the Torah it says that God gave the Jewish people the land. Now,
but Zionism also claims exception because of the Holocaust. Now, you just attributed the phrase to Theodor Herzl, the solution to the Jewish problem, and that will have raised ears all over the world, because that's the phrase that most people attribute to Hitler. Now, the idea that the Jews need a safe country in order to prevent the possibility of another Holocaust, in order to solve the persecution of Jews throughout millennia, is one of the founding principles of Israel. You don't think that holds any water either?
The Holocaust was God's will, and we don't question God. God is compassionate and so forth, but we have to be introspective, understand why it came. We believe that God will be exacting with the punishment for the Nazis, but at the same time, to take the issue of the Holocaust and to take that and to use it to rebel against God, when God specifically told us, do not attempt to make your own state, and to use that to take the land from the Palestinian people, is taking the people that died because they were Jewish, and to sort of dig them up and use them to rebel against God. It couldn't be anything worse for these people who died as Jews.
But you have to understand that the desire to be with a like community, the desire to commune with people of the same religion is a very strong one, and to have a homeland has got to be
emotional feeling.
But you're also saying that a defining feature of being a Jew is exile.
A defining feature is accepting that there is a ruler to the world who's compassionate, and it is medicine for the Jewish people, as Rabbi Samson Foherst, the head of the German community, wrote, that God is compassionate, and his will, since the destruction of the temple, was that he's good in his punishment. He wanted us to break our haughtiness, so he had us dispersed amongst the nations. At the same time, it was accomplishing a blessing for the world if we would be following the Judaism, because we are people who would be teaching the world of compassion, of serving God. So it serves two. But unfortunately, if we don't do what we're supposed to,
matter as Jewish, so I can't argue with you, but I know there are many who would. There is a strain within Israel itself, within the state of Israel, started, I think, by Rabbi Kook, perpetuated by a number of names in modern Judaism, who say, no, it's perfectly compatible with the writings of the Torah, that we have a state of Israel. And in fact, it not only makes political sense, it makes religious sense too.
Yeah, well, that is why I said I'm not requiring anybody to become a scholar in Judaism, but if you just step out of the box, let us just say, and go to Jerusalem, go to New York, go to, in London, Stamford Hills, the religious communities, the Ivy League of Judaism, the biblical colleges, you will see that the most religious communities, every one of them, they are anti-Zionist, and they, for instance, in Williamsburg, you won't find one Israeli flag. The majority of Jews in Jerusalem and Palestine won't send their children to the army, and they don't fly Israeli flags on their buildings because it is contradictory. It is diametrically opposite.
What about the settler movement? I mean, they present themselves as being religiously based and very fundamental.
Yes, there is the issue that they fuse together Zionism. They've hijacked the name Israel, the Star of David. They're using this, and what they're doing is they've been able to, by incorporating the Jewish feelings. For instance, they call themselves the beginning of God's redemption. They do agree that we were sent into exile by God. The ones who aren't non-believers, which many of them are, but the ones who do believe, they say, yes, God sent us into exile, but we are the beginning of God's redemption. And they've been able to ensnare the youth, mostly from, these are all from, almost entirely from non-religious homes or marginally religious. They are not the mass, the general populace of Jewish religious people. These you will find in, call it, the silent majority, all the communities that are opposed to these settlers. These settlers are definitely a minority that are always in your face. You will see them because they're up front. They're agitating, they're creating this terrible situation, but they don't represent Judaism. But being that they created in Palestine, their homeland, so now they're breaching every concept of thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, and it's being done, creating rivers of blood because of hate around the world.
Now, you used the phrase a moment ago, taking land from the Palestinians, which again is a problematic one for a lot of Western educated Jews and non-Jews alike. There is an argument, which is very much in the news right now, that there is no such thing as a Palestinian people. And there is an argument that says the lands that we are talking about never belonged to anybody called Palestinians. So what do you mean by taking Palestinian land?
You know, the Zionists would love to get into some technical jargon, what are you saying? There's not a Palestinian people and the land. We're talking as individual dwellers in Deir Yassin, in town after town and town, that we have many of our Jewish colleagues who are presently still living in the occupied Palestine there.
Ain't tired of taking land yet, Mr.
How
Bates.
they lived in total harmony with their Muslim and Arab neighbors, and they live there. The majority of people reside.
But what do you say to Newt
Palestine
Gingrich, who
were
says
Muslim.
these are all Arabs? They're not Palestinians, they're simply Arabs.
Again, these are technical terms to confuse the person. The fact is, the majority of people were non-Jews. They were Muslims and Arabs living in this area, whether it would be under Turkish or British mandate. That's neither here nor there. But they are the indigenous people who they either left because they were attacked as in Deir Yassin, or they ran away out of panic because they've seen what happened in these towns. And therefore, as a Jew, which is what people call human rights, we call godliness, we are forbidden to steal their land.
So let me just paraphrase, if I could, what you've told us so far. The state of Israel has no legitimacy. It shouldn't exist at all. That Jews are responsible for rivers of blood, as you put it, in the Palestinian lands. That the Holocaust is not sufficient reason to override the basic Jewish premise that the Jews should not have a land of their own. I may not have quoted you entirely accurately, but even if someone like me were to even hint at thinking like that, I would be branded anti-Semitic. I would be vilified in the mainstream media.
Yes.
So the question is, are you anti-Semitic?
That is the beautiful ploy of Zionism, that they can intimidate anybody who stands in opposition to their blatant, inhumane treatment of the Palestinians. And mind you, we will show you with God's help that they're brutally beating the Jewish inhabitants, who are, nobody can accuse us. Yet you can see that the Jews, simply because they're standing in Palestine, because there's masses, tens of thousands of Jews who stand out and demonstrate, and they get brutally beaten because they're opposing the existence of state, and they want the world to know.
They get brutally beaten by the Israeli state.
By the Israeli, I mean, I could see it on our site and links, but you could just see, and simply they're standing there, non-militant, we never carry arms, and this is what happens.
But the argument that you have made,
Yes.
will be interpreted by the majority of people reading English language newspapers, watching English language television, as being prima facie anti-Semitic. How does that make you feel that what you believe to be a true representation of your religion is being portrayed in the media as actually being completely contrary to that?
Yeah, well, that's part of the tragedy, that the media has been, unfortunately, we feel, sometimes owned and sometimes intimidated in a large manner by Zionism, in which they have media watch, just like they have AIPAC, that affects politicians, are fearful of speaking against the Zionist actions or whatever they do because they're labeled anti-Semitic. Anybody can go and to come to New York. We invite anybody who wants to come to Manhattan. I don't give visas, but if anybody who comes to Manhattan, goes across the bridge, and they'll see the largest Jewish communities. And here, this is in Washington, D.C., when President Obama, when Netanyahu came to visit President Obama, you'll see tens of thousands of Jews go out, demonstrate against the existence of the state of Israel and their actions, what they're doing, and nobody reports. Washington Post, New York Times, they've never reported. It's unbelievable. And when the Zionists make a little demonstration of 50 people, they're there. This is never seen.
Okay.
So
Sorry to keep interrupting. We're sort of running out of time a little bit. I want
that you're saying that we're anti-Semitic. The most all the charitable organizations, all the Jewish growth and that flourishes is from these communities. And we so not only we're not anti-Semitic, we are concerned about all the Jews.
Are you
do for them?
Are you a self-hating Jew then?
Because we are concerned for the life and spiritual and physical of the Jewish people. We're saying they're causing bloodshed. Remove this impediment to peace, and we can live together. Most Jews and Christians for the speedy and peaceful dismantlement of the state.
One of the other observations that I would make, everything that you have said in many ways reflects, quite funnily enough, the views of President Ahmadinejad of Iran, whom you have just visited. Yeah. And he, of course, is vilified as being the most anti-Semitic man in the world right now, with the sole aim of wiping out Jews and the state of Israel. Now, you've spoken to him very recently. Is that a fair characterization?
I'm not his lawyer. I'm not going to go into his heart, but the fact is, even Zionist papers admitted to the fact that he gives charity to the Jewish communities, and he says one thing: he has a problem with the oppression of the Palestinian people and the words "wipe out." He constantly says that Iran doesn't have a history, and he's not talking about harming anybody. He says that God will not allow this crime to happen. We concur with him that God. The Jews are in a danger because there is Zionism, and because it says in the Torah, if you rebel against God, it will not be successful, and it will be catastrophic results. And Zionism has brought catastrophic results, and it could be much worse.
You speak with great passion. You have supporting materials. You seem to dedicate a great deal of your life to this particular cause. A lot of people will look at you and go, well, just one perhaps slightly extreme, perhaps slightly misguided individual. I mean, do you get much personal attack? Do you actually feel that anyone is listening out there, given what we see in the media every day?
Well, again, that is the point. We say Zionism, that they vilify, they ridicule. Other people, they call anti-Semitic, us they call self-hating Jews and so forth. They ridicule us as being just some a nominal number. But we invite anybody to come and study for themselves the makeup of Jewish communities worldwide, and they will find that the Jewish communities that are practicing the religion properly around the world, without an exception, from Australia, which is Melbourne, the most, to Argentina, and I was in all these communities, thank God. No, I wasn't in Australia, I'm sorry, in Argentina. We just share this same view.
You clearly are very passionate about your beliefs, but you are also clearly fighting some fairly formidable forces in terms of the Zionist movement itself, the state of Israel, international Western opinion and all. Do you have much faith that your voice will be heard?
The great leader, Chief Rabbi of Palestine, Rabbi Teitelbaum of blessed memory, he passed away some 30 years ago. People asked him, it's daunting, how do you stand against Zionism? So he said, I'm not in the minority, I'm with God. There's a God who rules the world, who's the most powerful, and therefore we stand strong. And anyway, at the end of the day, God will accomplish. And we believe, just pray it should happen speedily and peacefully. Don't be labeled anti-Semitic. If you stand up and urge the world that they should stand up for the people who are suffering in Palestine, in Gaza, and don't be intimidated, but clearly distinguish. Don't call it the Jewish state, and we could go on and live and serve God together in peace.
Rabbi, thank you for talking to Al Jazeera.
Thank you. It's an honor.
So what do you think? You learn something new every day. I'm gonna try to set up an interview with the rabbi and ask them questions like, do y'all acknowledge that there are Black Jews? Do y'all oppose this idea of what many people are saying who are Jews? We'll see. But until then, family, this is your man, not your boy. Go Black to Africa.
Think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
Mr. Bass.
Shout out to Go Black to Africa.
Look, Mr. Bass. Did he not get tongue tied as we would say studying, right? You know what I'm saying? Stutter. Like when your words get tight tongued and caught up. When he was asked the question, is he anti-Semitic? He said, ah, baby, what's wrong with him? Yeah, he is. Because he not who he say he is. He could talk about even the one that was giving the interview. He got tired of. He said, "We run out of time."
Bro,
I can't.
But that is the difference between the Zionists and the Orthodox Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And see, the ones they would think the ones that's like him and other Jewish people, because they're not the Jews, but the Jewish people, the Jewish community, or whatever they call it. How I don't even understand that, Mr. Bass, because let me break it down to you. I told you when I lived in Birmingham, Alabama, I had the time I worked for Jews. However, that wealth and all of that still floats around, and it still do that. So at some point, they still, to my acknowledgement, at some point, they still share the attachment of the Zionists, correct? It's conflicting now, because if you look at it,
watch yourself. You know, we got shut down the other day for that.
Oh yeah, I see they removed our video.
That's the same thing I was asking. I wasn't being hateful or anything. I wasn't talking.
Yeah, listen. We love all people. Show you right, Mr. Bass. Listen, we love all people, baby, because we are God. Listen, we are of God, God in us, and we in Him. So we have the love of God in us, because God says love conquers all. So we love all people. So this is not a hate speech. This is not nothing to hate. It's just the fact of the matter is what it is, and then we don't sugarcoat over here. So YouTube, do not take our video down like you did the last one, okay? We are over here just speaking facts, which is truth. We have no hate in our heart. Go ahead, Mr. Bass.
And asking questions, because that's all I did was ask a question, because talking about the Babylonian Talmud, you know.
Well, you know what, Mr. Bass? You didn't do nothing wrong. We just speaking truth. And the word of God said that in these times, lies will be truth and truth will be lies. So since we did that video, it was truth. You spoke truth. So they took it down because it was actually the truth. Now keep going, Mr. Bass.
All right. Yeah, I just want to
demons.
I just want to make sure how we phrase things, so that because there was a lot of good information in that video they took down, and that's why they took it down. But nevertheless,
that's why they took it down, because it was the truth and the information.
Trying to be a little more conscious and learn how to speak in code. But nevertheless, we want YouTube to know that we don't hate anybody. We're not coming against anybody, but we're learning. And we do know that according to the scriptures, who the true Israelites are.
True that.
And they got
and we do know that lies will be truth and truth will be lies. Keep going, Mr. Bass.
Mm-hmm. And they got all of these Greek letter preachers in the so-called churches telling people different. Yeah, telling us that we Gentiles. Ain't that something?
Mm. Then led the whole world to hell.
You know, I
And they
always,
still leading them to hell, especially these Baptist leaders.
I
Oh.
always had a question about all these mega churches. You know,
Hmm.
the scripture say, "Broad is the way,
It's the way. Hmm.
lead to destruction,"
Hmm.
and
Road is what? Narrow.
many there be that go in there at, and it's a
Mhm.
whole bunch of them, and then they're not doing anything for the state or for the condition of the people.
No,
That's the bad part about it. You got
nothing
all
but
these.
pimping their ass, Mr. Bass. You got
That's it. That's
Jake
it.
the Snake. You got Papa Mouth and all the rest of them. They're just like all the rest of the locals out here. They ain't doing that but pimping the hell out of them. I asked you what was the difference between a pastor, a drug dealer, and a pimp. They all in the same boat. They all want dollars. They all want money. They all got a game. Okay.
Fact. Fact. Mm-mm-mm.
All right, Mr. Bass. You can keep going. What's the how many is that next link? Cause I'm about to make my my round real quick and run to the rest of it.
Um,
Just do your thing, Just do your thing, Mr. Bass. I'll be back.
all right.
Thank you, baby. I'll be back, y'all.
So we just watch this. So here we go.
The main racial theorists of the day started saying that yes, actually, Jews are Negroes.
What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, Go Black to Africa. So I'm here in Zambia, chilling out, and I want to bring you all a video. I want to bring you all a video because this right here is proof that they've been hiding the secrets of who we really are. Being Jew people who was in the mix of slavery, taking around the world. And we're going to listen to each one of these little tidbits along my trail, my journey of many people, whether they're scholars, whether they are historians, whether they're archaeologists, just to prove and for you to add the pieces up so that it will draw to you a picture. This is what I want each and every one of us to do, is to really, for those who are in Americas, you see, there are people who are playing it on streets, people who are playing it around the world, who are giving you just a bit. But listen to this video, and I'll be back.
A first book on the Lemba, I finished up on 60 minutes. And, it was on the front page of the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, all over the place. Fantastic, incredible publicity. Why? Why is it, I thought, that Black Jews are so deeply troubling to Western sensibilities? It really puzzled me for a long time. And it was interesting, it was fascinating to see that Enlightenment scholars at the end of the 18th century were equally puzzled. And the reason that they were puzzled, why were they puzzled? They were puzzled because they didn't know how they became Black. So why then, all of a sudden, do the people that we're all interested in this group, everybody here is interested in the question of Jews, as we say, of color throughout the world. I mean, that's one of these are the groups, Kulanu and me, we've been very interested in. At the end of the 18th century and for the first half of the 19th century, Jews of color were not marginal. They were mainstream preoccupations of people. That's something which I'm the first person to point out. It was interesting for racial theorists, a number of reasons. One of the reasons is that you've got, for the first time, the idea that Jews are multicolored, right? And so that in itself is kind of interesting, but the underlying thing is the proof that this provides to the monogenists. And they took up the cause of all of these black, brown, Jewish communities throughout the world, like it was the most fabulous thing that they could imagine in support of their own ideas. And they would spend their times traveling the world and looking for new black Jewish communities, and bring these back and feed them into the cultural kind of machine, the groups. All of these kind of black Jewish groups, brown, they were all kind of dragooned as part of the holy crusade of proving the unified origins of mankind. What a noble thing that turned out to be. And of course, with Darwin, that pretty much marks the end of polygenism, except that even today there are genetic scientists who fiddle around with the proof in such a way that it looks as if there are races and that they're kind of significantly different from each other, but it really is not the case.
So should we go to the question about conflation? What does conflation mean? Were there different kinds of conflation of Jews and blacks over time? Or should we go to the question of looking at your slides?
Well, let me quickly just deal, because the conflation is in the title of my book. And I think just to say what I mean by it would be a good introduction really to the slides. And Bonnie sort of mentioned very kindly a chapter in that 2013 book. And there was nothing original about that. There's a great scholar by the name of Sander Gilman, who really is the father of all studies about the perceptions of the body of the Jew. He's an extraordinary scholar, and I owe a huge amount to everything that he's written, and I admire him enormously. And so a long time ago, he wrote that, there was a kind of medieval perception that Jews were black. And there's plenty of proof that within Europe, the Jews were considered to be kind of black. There are many images of Jews being black. And even if they were black, they were not even slightly black. They were kind of considered to be black in one way or another. So blackness and Jews really went hand in hand. If you read his work, or if you read my work, and particularly if you read this new book, you will see the multitude of examples of it. And if you go, for instance, into the marginalia, the illustrations in English or European prayer books in the 13th and 14th centuries, you frequently see hook-nosed Jews wearing Jewish hats and with black faces. So the idea that Jews were black was definitely there, before the Enlightenment period. And
so let's go to the slides now.
Just a sec, because I just need to say, in the 19th century, the idea of Jewish blackness was reinforced by the discovery of all of these actual black Jews in India and Africa, all over the place. And by 1850, the main racial theorists of the day started saying that, yes, actually, Jews are Negroes. Negroes, in some way, are also Jews. This is the conflation. It's partly political, it's partly metaphorical, and it's very, very significantly biological.
So what do you think? Now, let me say this right here. Don't disassociate yourself with anybody because of what some say that maybe who you are or where you come from. We are all a people. But the thing of it is that if a person doesn't have a foundation of their roots, if a person don't know who they are, they can be misguided and led into other places, other religions, other cultures, behave in different fashions. But when you know that you are connected, the original, to the Most High, that means then that you have a standard, you have a culture of discipline, a culture of righteousness, that you should be the voice to the world. So let's keep this in mind as I begin to delve even deeper into the truth of the matter. This is your man, not your boy. Go Black to Africa.
Think about it, 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 think about it.
Balenciaga, it's satanic fashion. It's totally evil. I'm going to give some examples today. You've probably already heard about the scandal with these photo shoots that are pedophilic. There's little kids with S&M toys, S&M teddy bears, paraphernalia, etc. And I don't even want to put this stuff on the screen too long because it's just sick and it's disgusting. And here on the screen is someone you might be interested in. This is, let me get her name straight. Her name is, and I can't even show some of the stuff she puts on Instagram because it's so nasty and sick. Lada Volkova. She's a senior stylist at Balenciaga. You look at this image and what do you think? You think Satan, you think abortion, you think evil, you think destruction of children. These are the people designing so-called fashion at Balenciaga, and not just Balenciaga. It's all over the place. I mean, Kim Kardashian is associated with this stuff. She put out a weak denunciation of it. Look, these people want to destroy your kids. Do you get it? Do you understand? These people are sick. Now, I'm going to show you some stuff from Lada's so-called fashion, and you tell me if this isn't degenerate, satanic, Luciferian, and evil. All right, here is a piece of art. Look at this. This is what she posts, like little kids. You know, it's got horoscope, 69, little kid with the skull. I mean, this is sick. These people want to destroy our children. Here's another one. She posts this on her Instagram. It's some Satan priest, weird, erotic, nasty thing. I mean, this is the kind of people who are designing these so-called fashions. And it's totally wicked. Absolutely wicked. Here's a t-shirt that she designed. Completely satanic. You don't need me to explain that to you. And then there's some stuff that I can't even post. I mean, I was going to put on the show, you know, if I put this on YouTube, it's so gross and wicked that YouTube could just like cancel my channel just for reporting on it as saying how bad it is. I'm not going to put on the screen, but I'm going to describe for you a few of the things that she's posted on her Instagram. Okay, one of them is a child, maybe 7 or 8, I don't know, laying on the ground in a beautiful green field, disemboweled with his intestines hanging out. All right, that's what these people are about. Another one is like a happy holidays, and it's a kid duct taped to a chair, looking scared with the mouth covered up. I mean, and there's more. And you know, you've heard these rumors that people in Hollywood, people in fashion are satanic, and there's all these eyes wide shut things going on. It's for real. I've talked to people in these circles, firsthand witnesses. It is real. These people worship themselves. They're total narcissists, and they're Satanists. Well, Satan was the ultimate narcissist. He was the most glorified, beautiful angel. And he said, non serviam, I will not serve. And he worships himself as God. These people are perverted, inverted. They want to destroy that which is good, true, beautiful. This is what they're promoting. It's not fashion, it's the destruction of Christian culture that they advocate. And we, as baptized Christians, disciples of Jesus Christ, we will fight this until we die, especially those of us who have children. We will fight you until we die. You will not have our kids. And they are funneling it through Disney Plus, every bit of fashion, TV shows, movies. They're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And it's disgusting. Now, I also want to address something. People have been saying Balenciaga in Latin is the Luciferian Thelema motto, do what thou wilt. And this has been going around all over social, Facebook, and Twitter today. If you go into Google and you type in Balenciaga, you get do what you want as in Latin. This is not true. This is fake. I don't know if this is a psyop by Google. I don't know why this is, but I've studied Latin for 12, 15 years. These words right here are not Latin words. Balenciaga is not Latin. All right. And it doesn't mean do what thou want. People are associating the B-A-L with Baal, do what you want, but this is not Latin. And why is Google, sorry, my dogs are going cray in the back. Why is Google promoting this do what thou want? Do what thou want is this satanic motto. It comes from Thelema. It's basically do whatever you want. There are no 10 commandments. Thou shalt, thou shalt, thou shalt, thou shalt. It's do what thou want. So somehow Google's part of this psyop of making Balenciaga mean that when it doesn't. As a matter of fact, it's a corruption of St. Augustine's quote. St. Augustine said, love and do what thou wilt. In Latin, dilige et quod vis fac. That's what St. Augustine said in Latin. They've taken the love part off, and they just have the quod vis fac, do whatever you want. But St. Augustine is correct. If you truly love God and you truly love your neighbor as yourself, with no exceptions, perfectly, whatever you willed with the love of God, perfectly aligned with your will, you could do whatever you want, because every will would be loving God and loving your neighbor. That's what making in the Catholic tradition. The Satanists have corrupted St. Augustine, and they've taken the love of God and the love of neighbor out of it, and it's love of self. So do whatever you want. You want to look like, you want to make kids get into, all this nonsense, all this Satanism, all this pedophilia, all this disgustingness. Look at this. This is disgusting. Degenerate people. Witchcraft. Degenerate. I mean, these people should be in prison. They need psychiatric help, and they need an exorcism from a good priest like Father Ripperger. So that's that. All right. Well, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe, share it. Appreciate you. God bless you. I'll be back with Father Nix in a little bit. And we're going to talk about narcissists and Christian boundaries, 10 Christian boundaries. All right. See you in a little bit. God bless.
making rounds on social media. I'm receiving a lot of new details concerning Balenciaga, and of course, I'm going to be giving you all the details. Thank you for everyone that has been following us, guys. If I look at how we are performing right now, we are growing day by day, and of course, it's because of your love. I'm always here bringing you all the latest details concerning the Kardashians, concerning Kanye West. If you haven't joined us, please subscribe to our channel, hit on that notification bell so that you always get notified every time I post something. So the Kardashians are being exposed yet again for being influenced by the devil. One of their trusted employees has quit working for them for denial of doing the right thing when it comes to the Balenciaga scandal. Okay, someone who has been working with Kim Kardashian is coming out right now and spilling a lot of secrets. I'm telling you, she's like, you know what? I decided not to work anymore with that family. Of course, have been receiving some money, have been working for them for a long period of time. But when it comes to children, when it comes to such situations, I'm not going to sit down and bear everything. Well,
And when the scandal came about, I was stalled and disgusted.
She is coming out and revealing a lot of things. What does this show? It simply means that the Kardashians are still going on denying to come out and denounce Balenciaga. They are claiming that they are not even concerned about the ongoing situation. But if we say that such people are coming out and exposing them, and of course not deciding to work with them, I will tell you this is what we all need. Don't forget that the protesting is still ongoing. Secondly, the hashtag cancel Balenciaga is also still ongoing, and of course canceling Kim Kardashian. I'm going to be giving you all she had to say concerning all this. We all recall when Kanye came out recently and exposed Kim for being influenced by the devil. He also urged her to stand up for herself, to start influencing families with her platform. But guess that is not what she is doing, because I will tell you, Kanye understands this family. He clearly understands what is going on. And recently he was like, you know what, Kim, I've been saying the Balenciaga scandal. You're not coming out as a mom, as a person who has been working for them for a long period of time, and you're supposed to come out and say something. Fans are expecting that from you, and not even fans, you personally, obviously you ought to come out and say something, but she is not coming out up to this time around.
And disgusted, and I quit on the spot.
Right now, Kim Kardashian's manager, who has also been associated with Balenciaga at a certain point, has quit working for her. She reveals that she has been assisting Kim Kardashian for some good years, but she couldn't continue this work relationship with a person who has not done what she is supposed to do concerning the Balenciaga scandal. Okay.
And when the scandal came about, I was stalled and disgusted.
Look at that woman right there. I'm sure you have listened to something she had to say about all this. She's like, okay, have been working with Kim Kardashian for a long period of time, but when this all came to my notice, I was like, okay, I even can't believe that they are not doing what they are supposed to do. I'm not going to bear this. Yes, I've been receiving a lot of money from them, have been doing what I'm supposed to do, but come on, I expected Kim Kardashian to go an extra mile. I expected her family to come out and denounce this brand. Maybe they are getting some bit of money, but they are parents. We are talking about children right here. So she expected a lot from them, but they didn't do that. And she was like, you know what? I'm quitting and I'm not going to be working with you anymore.
You guys have a voice. You guys make millions off of companies.
She also said that when she got to know about this brand violating children, to add on that Kim Kardashian continuing to work for them, she felt disgusted and quit on spot. She didn't need to think about all this. What is there to think about? Okay, when Kim Kardashian came out and issued a certain statement, she was like, you know what? I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this, what to say. Okay, I will ask a serious question. What was there to think about? And of course, her manager is coming out and further exposing her. She is like, this issue concerns children. And of course, when I learned that they came out and posted a certain campaign on their social media platforms, I was like, okay, I even don't need second guesses. I even don't need time to think about what is my next move. I looked at my boss. She was not doing anything regarding this situation. And of course, I was like, you know what? Let me find my way out, because I'm just not going to sit down and of course bear everything the Kardashians are doing concerning this situation, because I'm a grown-up person and I'm even coming out publicly to comment about all this.
Whoever's there for our children and want to save our children, start searching it and get your word out.
In addition, she also urged all celebrities out there to use their voice in the ongoing Balenciaga scandal. They make millions of such companies, and that shouldn't be a very big deal. She is a single mother with an average income. If she has managed to stand up and use her voice, then what are they waiting for?
All the celebrities out there, you guys have a voice. I'm a single mother with a sole income, and if I was able to take a stand for our children, you can too.
Because she's like, okay, well, you have been receiving a lot of money, maybe from Balenciaga, you receive a lot of money from such companies you associate with. But come on, we average people are coming out to protest. We are coming out to view out our opinions publicly, and of course we are not afraid of anything. But if she looks at all the celebrities and of course what they have done concerning this situation, she's like, I'm very, very disappointed, because they have not done what they are supposed to do. With the average people, it's us coming out on different social media platforms, banning all the Balenciaga products, stopping to work with families like the Kardashians, and of course such celebrities are just disappointing us. She believes that when it comes to children, there is no need for second guesses. This has further exposed the evil side of Kim Kardashian. If her manager quit and she is coming out to protest against Balenciaga, what is this woman even waiting for? People should just boycott her businesses. Has even anyone thought about this? Because I'm like, okay, maybe when people come out on social media and they're like, okay, hashtag cancel Kim Kardashian, maybe that is not enough. I will tell you guys, what we need to do is just people coming out and boycotting Kim Kardashian's businesses, because this is what the next thing is ought to be. Because maybe when they see people coming out on social media, they sit down and they're like, you know what, it's going to reach a time, and of course they are going to be diverted. They are going to be not taking the matter seriously. But if people come out and boycott their businesses, I will tell you, there and then they will come out and of course find a lot of measures. But right now they are very, very relaxed, because they are like, even though they shout on social media, even though they come out and even though they come out and cancel us, they will seize the fire, and of course we will continue with our lives. So basically guys, I will tell you, canceling their businesses is the right thing to do. Her manager has also expressed her discontent towards Balenciaga, Cendric, and of course Demo Visalia, saying that they understand what they created for themselves and that they are to pay a huge price for this. Even their history clearly tells that they have been engaging in a lot of evil things just to make money. So
Balenciaga and Cedric and Demo Visalia, you guys know what you guys are into. I looked into your guys' history and it's a rabbit hole.
basically she's like, okay, maybe at a certain point this brand came out and of course they found a lot of excuses. They were like, you know what, we were not even aware of what was really going on. Well, she has been inside and of course she has been associating with Kim and Balenciaga, and she is here assuring us, and she's like, they clearly understood what they were doing, since she has also been working with this brand for a long period of time. She reveals that whoever wants to come out and stand up for all the children, they shouldn't have any second thoughts. They are on the right track because Balenciaga knew exactly what they were doing from the first place. She also reveals that this is not the usual fight, but rather a spiritual fight between good and evil. Everyone should step up now, not to let the devil win.
This is a spiritual fight between good and evil, and if we don't step up now, guess who's winning? We are not here to lose.
Like I told you, she had come to expose and spill a lot of secrets, guys. But tell me what you even think about her coming out. I will tell you, she was bold enough. These are the kind of people we need to bring down the Kardashians and of course fully expose Balenciaga. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. many things.
Mr. Bay. So do they believe Kanye now?
They still trying to discredit him. However, everything is starting to come to light.
Absolutely. And you all see the reason why Ye be fighting for his kids, and he always try to be in those kids' life because he knows what goes on and what's taking place. Remember he was talking about, her allowing the little girl to get on TikTok and all these different platforms, putting on lipstick and doing all of this, and he was clowning about that. It's because he knows what is going on.
And all those weird pictures that little girl was drawing too, where'd that come from?
Facts.
All right.
I mean, this sickening, hashtag save our kids, is very sickening. And as she stated, the rabbit hole, yes, the rabbit hole is deep and dark, evil.
Yes, it is. And that's just, I guess Conway did that Alex Jones interview the way he did it to keep them from taking him out, because he revealed a whole lot in that video.
Can't wait till we see it. Also, they need to protect her at all costs because she's an inside job. She's an insider exposing things as well. So they don't like it.
Yeah. Wow. All right, here we go.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is not one that I really want to have to be filming. It's quite unfortunate that I'm having to sit down and do this kind of video because I just can't believe it even happened in the first place. But I am weighing in on my 2 cents with this whole Balenciaga controversy, the scandal, but it is more than just what's sort of been shown like in the main press sort of thing. There is far more to it. So I actually didn't even know about this ad campaign until one of my viewers commented on my last video, and she brought it up and said that she would like my opinion on it, and it's our responsibility as a influencer to comment when luxury brands are doing wrong and that sort of thing. I agree and disagree in some way because I don't think that I am actually considered an actual influencer. I classify myself as a content creator. But that aside, anyway, I'm glad that she brought it to my attention because otherwise I probably wouldn't have known. I mean, I know it's all over the internet, but funnily enough, I'm just always busy with my kids. I have 2 kids, as you guys know, if you're already a seasoned subscriber. So I'm always busy with them. And then I've got my own line of work that I do. So I'm very, very busy. I don't really jump on social media and YouTube and browse and stuff like that. Because of what I've seen, firstly, on face value with this campaign, I was totally shook. I probably only spent about 5 hours. So I think I apologize in advance if this video does get a little bit messy because I'm running on low sleep. Before I dive into going through all my content for this video, because I've got a lot of stuff written down, there's a lot in here. Seriously, look at that. So yeah, video could be quite triggering, unfortunately. There's going to be graphic content here, and I'm going to do my very best to kind of blank out anything that's too overly graphic because I'll probably have the video taken down. Otherwise, I'm sure YouTube's not going to like if I completely blast the content, the photos and all those sorts of things without any kind of censor on it, because it is full on. This is beyond the Balenciaga ad campaign. Seriously, it's beyond that. So yeah, I just wanted to warn you, trigger warning. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is that because of the particular content that we are talking about, I'm going to have to censor words as well. So I'm not going to be able to fluently just say the word because it's going to lead to demonetization and my video being taken down very likely. So hopefully that you guys will get what I'm saying when I say something like AB, P, like, you know, I'm going to try and do my best. S, I suppose. Yeah, it's going to be a bit weird because it's going to be a case of filling in the blanks. But what I'm going to do for any of those explicit words, I'm still going to have everything linked down below in the description bar. All the articles that I looked at, all the content that I gathered, it's going to be linked down below in the description bar. I'm going to credit everybody that put up content that I was able to gather. One of the big ones that I want to credit to is a streamer, YouTuber, Reddit user called Memory Hold. He did a really long video, and a lot of stuff that was in there kind of led me on a more of a path as well. And there was also a Twitter user that, well, did a massive expose, and whoever is Curio Slight. So I'm going to have these people linked down below because I believe that credit should always be given where credit is due. This information is just for entertainment purposes. I think this is the best way to summarize it, just for entertainment purposes. And I'm sharing this information in accordance with fair use policy for the commentary and entertainment purposes, in line with the kind of content that I have on this YouTube channel. So it is all alleged. Information has been gathered, but please take it all with a grain of salt because it is primarily for entertainment purposes. That's out of the way. Disclaimer, don't come for me. All right, so okay, let's now actually start. Let's really start with this ad campaign. So this ad campaign that Balenciaga released, and it was in late November, and they had these photos in their ad campaign, which was for spring summer 2023, and they were doing some kind of gift shop promotion, right? What was the distasteful part of this ad campaign? Now, the trigger for the rest of everything that's kind of been uncovered is that they had these images, right, with children. And I'm personally just going to say it. I think that children are off limits for any kind of like modeling of adult stuff. I have to just draw the line at children modeling only children's items. That's it, okay? That's where I stand on it. So already, this was always going to sit badly with me. But what is the worst part is if you actually zoom in on these images, these bears that these children are holding are not so innocent. They are bears that are dressed in BDSM gear. And for the sake of saying what BDSM means, it stands for bondage and discipline, dominance and submission, sadism and masochism. To summarize BDSM, it's like a dominance and submission thing, and it's something that you have to give permission to. So you have to give consent. If someone's doing these participating BDSM, which is a SE act, yeah, they have to give consent. And that's why everyone is in such an uproar, because you got these bears with BDSM gear on being held by children. That is so gravely inappropriate, given that BDSM is an SE nature. That's what it is. And that explains why everyone is in such an uproar, because children are holding bears with BDSM gear on that is clearly not for children. It is an adult content, and it's so wrong. If they were just bears, that's fine, but they're not just bears. They're bears with BDSM gear. This is R-rated plus sort of stuff, and there's a child clearly under the age of 6 holding these bears. Like, what was Balenciaga thinking? That this was going to ever go down well? Like I said, it gets worse. So we can see that it's completely and totally inappropriate at face value, okay? The next thing that has been picked up is that in another photo for this same campaign, there is a Balenciaga Adidas collaboration bag on a table amongst a heap of documents. And one of those documents that's actually partially visible is a document which is actually the Ashcroft vs. Free Speech Coalition. Now, this is actually a court document that's on the table, just an excerpt of it, right? And if you don't know what that is, I did do some research on it because I don't live in the United States, I live in Australia. Basically, there was a Supreme Court case to do with the Child P Prevention Act. And in a nutshell, it was they were arguing the freedom to engage in lawful speech. And the argument basis was that if the images not literally of a child, then it, they're claiming like this whole coalition, this whole Ashcroft versus free speech court case was claiming that it should be allowed because it's not literally an actual child that they're using. It's like whether it be an AI, like artificial intelligence image, so it's just created with pixels, whether it's painted or whether it's like an adult who's dressed to look like they're younger or something like that. So this is kind of just trying to give you more of a layman's terms on it. Quite obviously, that document being there is quite clearly sending some kind of message to do with child P material. I don't have words. Why would that be in a photo shoot? Like, why would they do that? But it seems as though there's an answer to that question, and that there is clearly something very sinister going on at Balenciaga. The Balenciaga is owned by a French corporation called Kering. So you can imagine if they're owned by a corporation, a big corporation, there's obviously different levels. Okay, whoever they hire as a creative director is pretty much like the face of Balenciaga, even though we know that this person is just being paid by the corporation. And the corporation is technically the representation of Balenciaga because they own Balenciaga. But the way that kind of is seen, the way that we all sort of see it is that whoever is a creative designer is the face of that brand, because the only reason that we would potentially be buying that brand is because of the creative designs that they're coming out with. Creative director, okay, that's probably the better word. His name is Demna. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Gavassilia, but he just simply is known as Demna anyway. Now, this is where it even gets more juicy, all right? Now, I'm just going to continue to go off the things that people have really noticed, but I actually uncovered a little bit more than what people have even noticed. Those were the 3 photos that were most talked about, but there are actually there's actually particularly another photo, right? And it links to the other photos as well. So I'm going to draw your attention to this particular photo. Now, it looks seemingly more innocent-ish than the other photos. It's a boy with a Balenciaga hoodie on, track pants, and he's got a taped chair with that Balenciaga tape all over. That tape was made famous as well by Kim Kardashian, so that's why that tape is quite obviously placed there, right? However, now, and this is something I actually want to say before we get into this photo, actually, let me just say this very clearly, that if you're doing an actual setup of a shoot, like unless you're outside in nature where you can't control the elements, if you're doing an actual setup of a shoot, a movie, a photos, a set, whatever, everything is deliberately meticulously placed. Like everything has a placement for a reason. Everything is picked for a reason. It's quite obvious that the creative team and producers of this photo shoot had deliberately chosen out items for this particular photo shoot. However, that makes me say, well, they would choose items based on what Demna wants for the photo shoot, right? Like that's what would make sense because Demna is the creative director and he would have a vision and that's what they would do. But there is more than that because there is not just Demna. There's actually another creative stylist that works for Demna, for Balenciaga. So, and she is someone who has not been spoken about. She's new to the mix and she is a massive, massive point in this whole video, really, actually, because she uncovers this very sinister thing. But we'll get to that later. Like I said, have had low sleep. So if, there's somewhat not of a structure with this video, I apologize. But my point that I just wanted to get across is that do not think that any of this is innocent. This is all deliberately chosen. Items are deliberately chosen. There is no mistake. There was no mistake for that court document. It was literally put there for a reason. This photo, getting back to this photo, right? Like I said, it looks seemingly innocent at face value compared to the other ones. Now, if you look down here, in the bottom, sort of almost in the bottom left corner, you'll see 2 tape rolls. Okay, and if you look close up, you will notice that the tape roll is misspelt. Rather than saying Balenciaga, or at least those first 5 letters, it says B-A-A-L and then followed by E and N. You can almost see the E and N, right? Now, Bal. Why would that be there? Like, why would they deliberately have misspelt that? Could that be an accident? And I'll explain why it definitely was not an accident. This wasn't an accident. This was, like I said, strategically bloody placed there. Now, if you research the definition of Baal, Baal is an ancient Canaanite god. So he's like a pagan god. They believed the sack of minors to this god was apparently their belief, like the pagan belief. Children was to a god called Molech in the Old Testament. It's quite obvious that Baal is a pagan, Canaanite, ancient god. This quite sinister, quite evil, quite obviously, given all that context of it. That word Baal is on the tape. And it's obviously deliberate. And the reason that I say it's deliberate is because if you look at some of the other campaign, particularly the other campaign image, which has also got a boy surrounded by items, and here's, even though some of these items are quite distasteful as well, they look like alcoholic cans, this image as well with this boy, like it's, again, distasteful. But again, another BDSM bear with this boy as well, like seriously, freaking ridiculous. There's something wrong with them. But yeah, if you look at this, going back to this tape, so if you look down at the bottom right corner of this image, you will see that there is a tape that says Balenciaga, but it's spelled correctly. It's the yellow tape. It's the exact same tape that says Baal, B-A-A-L. This one, it's spelled correctly, B-A-L-E-N. That's spelled right, Balenciaga. So it's obviously deliberate. They've deliberately put a tape there that says Baal. This is not an accident. I'm telling you, there is no way that the creative stylists, that the producers of this set, that they would not have specifically chosen particular items to go on this set. Like, look at all of this detail in just this image here, where I pointed out that the tape is actually spelled correctly. You see in the background, there's little cars, all right? In the drawer, there looks like there's a shirt that says Balenciaga on it. And top right, you've got another one of those awful bears with the bondage BDSM gear on. And then if you look in the back left corner, there looks like there's some kind of blue liquid. It looks like a lunchbox, and then there's a towel with a BB Balenciaga logo on it. So everything is quite strategically placed. So when they took down most of the images from the campaign, Balenciaga, they replaced it. This is what gets us on to the next image. They replaced it with this image. And this image looks more innocent, right? Like you think, okay, well, they've replaced, the kids with the BDSM gears, and they've put this up because this is more like what you would expect from a fashion photo shoot. Now, this particular book in the background is by Michael Boremans. And by doing some research, I found out that he is an artist. But this particular book, based on down the bottom, I kind of can sort of see what it would be based on all the books that he sort of released. And I would guess that this is actually the book As Sweet as It Gets. And this is actually not the worst of his stuff, but it's dark. Like his images, his paintings are dark, imply some kind of suppression. There's children in his paintings from what I can see in a dark manner. So that looks like that's what that book is, right? But it's not the only book that he's done with paintings. It's not the only paintings that he's ever done. And what's the most controversial that he has done is called Fire from the Sun. And this is the one that has people in an uproar. And I can't even display these images because they are just grotesque. They portray violence. They portray what looks like, I suppose I can say this word, some kind of cannibal nature. It's dark. It's really dark. And because he's actually got children in this painting, that's what makes it all the more worse as well, that these are kids that are portrayed in these paintings. And then there's also images like with children that looks like they're wearing hoods, like in some kind of hooded suits. It looks like sort of like a cult sort of stuff. Like it's freaky stuff. Like this is the stuff that was like giving me nightmares. I think it was like just really disturbing for me. So even though that's not exactly the book that was there, it's still him. It's the same artist. So Balenciaga has put in their photo shoot this book quite clearly, deliberately placed there that is extremely dark and morbid, and this was specifically placed there. Now, the other book below is Girl Glamour by the looks of it. I can't see any of the other real text that's there, and I would say that that's probably the most innocent book out of the three, not knowing what it is. Now, the next one is actually a book called The well, it's a book called The Cremaster Cycle, which is actually a series of films, which are like art and storytelling, I suppose, in a way. But when you actually look at like the images on this, and I actually even had a look at the trailer for this Cremaster Cycle series, like this movie thing, this marathon movie, and some seems kind of innocent-ish, but then some of it seems like it's a bit like maybe like satanic in a way or something like that. It seems a bit like occult looking. Like there's gore, there's definitely blood and gore. It's also SE-ualized, is twisted as well. Like it's very kind of creepy too. Not as creepy as the Michael Borman's book, but there's still this Cremaster Cycle just still creeps me out. Like it's like there's this portrayal of things that aren't even like, aren't real to us, right? But then it's like maybe they're real to like this occult mentality or something, you know, this like demon mentality, like of demons and worshipping and stuff. That is seriously the path that it looks like this theme of this photo shoot is going down. It's just so deeply disturbing. I'm going to be traumatized by this forever. But that is not all of it, okay? That is not all of it. So we've covered the ad campaign. We've covered that there is nothing innocent about it, and what we thought people would have thought at face value was innocent is definitely not as well with those placements of the books, because they were absolutely deliberate. They were there on purpose. Now, the other thing that I want to pull to your attention, which is also a part of this same campaign, is the Balenciaga Spring Summer 2023 runway show that they had. This is a runway show that they actually had Kanye West lead the show pretty much before he had his falling out with Balenciaga and Adidas. He's quite clearly not on good terms with any of those. But yes, Spring Summer show, you actually will see that there are those bears in the show. The models are holding those bondage bears, those very inappropriate bears, but at least they're in the context of being held by adults, right? But what is very concerning as well is that they've made this choice to carry fake baby dolls in carriers on the front of only the male models. There's a few, like I think I count about 6 of them, 5 or 6 of them carrying these fake baby dolls in the front, and they're actually carrying a Balenciaga bag that was supposed to pretend to look like some kind of baby bag. So on the runway, you don't really see much other than that. You just see the baby on the front, and then you see that baby bag being carried by the male models only, okay? So I don't know if that's some kind of insinuation there. Then there's some backstage footage where they're doing a interview, whatever, with one of the models, like chatting to the models, asking to see like what's in the bag. And there's 2 models there. There's the male and there's the female model. And then he pulls out stuff out of the bag. So he says, he pulls out a dummy, when the baby's crying, that's what he kind of says. And then he pulls out like some kind of rag. And this is where it's really deeply disturbing. It's a rag that he says, when the baby's going to pee or something, that's what he says. But it looks like it's got blood on this rag. But I wanted to also note, because people are saying it looks like blood, the bag that he's carrying is red. So there's a possibility that with the reflections that the red is just coming off, like looking like it's on the rag, but it's not actually blood on, like fake blood on the rag. Maybe it's just a dark colored sort of thing, or spew or something like that. But it does look disturbing. Like it looks grotesque. It still is, this theme is very inappropriate. It's very inappropriate because not only that as well, like, and then they've got this other bear inside the bag as well, which looks like tattered and like it looks disturbing too. Like it's creepy. The whole thing is creepy. And one of the models, a dummy in her mouth, like it's no big deal. Like you're just putting a child's dummy in your mouth. Like this is art. This is cool. But no, none of this is cool. This just looks wrong. It is wrong. Children, whether they're fake, real especially, should not be in the fashion show. They should not be in an adult fashion show. And this is something that I kind of picked up on as well, is that when you look back at the Ashcroft versus Free Speech Coalition court case, that was actually a court case to get it overturned in the Child PO Prevention Act, that anything that wasn't actually real couldn't be considered child PO. So that would be, these fake dolls, like if they're fake dolls, portrayed in some kind of illicit manner, some kind of horrible manner, a PO manner, you couldn't be charged because it's freedom of speech and it's art, because they're not actually real humans. It's fake, right? And it's the same thing like with paintings. You couldn't be charged as like producing PO material because it's not actually a real subject, a real person or anything like that. You're not using a real child. So that's what that court case was about, was to get that part of the Prevention Act overturned. So it sort of seems to me like Balenciaga is sending a message here, that they're sending a message. There was also another image as well, and I kind of just let this go because I feel like there's not enough of a connotation here. And below the image, when they had the children holding the BDSM bears, they had this image of a man modeling the Balenciaga Adidas outfit, and he was holding a key. And like I said, everything in these photo shoots is meticulously placed. Everything is deliberate. And I'm actually going to refer you to superhero movies, okay? So when you watch movies like the Batman, there are so many what they call Easter eggs in the Batman movie, like little things that you may not notice that link into stuff. Like they link into the DC universe in some way, or they link into the story in some way, and you've got to spot them. They are all in superhero movies. It's quite obvious that that's what Balenciaga is kind of doing here with this placement of items to send you a message. So that's why I refer to that key, is that I kind of let it go because I feel like maybe there's an argument to it, but the key looks to me like it belongs to one of the locks on one of the BDSM bears, which again implies that ownership, that submission, that dominance, which is what BDSM relates to. So it's like they have the key to that, no, that's just twisted. Like it's wrong. Like I said, there is children involved in this. It is so fucking messed up. Okay, so now I'm going to refer to another photo, and I don't know exactly if this was actually a part of the campaign. I'm not sure because this came up with all my research sort of thing. Okay, so in this photo, if you look in the back corner, there's like this framed sort of like certificate sort of thing, right? And it says, this is what I can see, college month. I can make that out. Then the next word, I'm not exactly sure, but it looks like it might be honorarium. So college month honorarium. Okay, and we're going to revisit that. If it is honorarium, we're going to revisit that word. And then it says below, John Philip Fisher. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because if you go ahead and Google John Philip Fisher, this is alleged, okay? We do not know that this certificate is specific to this person. Like, we don't know if that's what it's trying to say, but it's very suspect given everything that we've already discussed. It's very suspect, and it looks as though it could actually be about this guy. And this John Philip Fisher faced several charges of criminal SE conduct in relation to his granddaughter since she was 4 years old until she was 16 years old. So this is alleged. I don't want to stress that because we don't know this specifically. But when you type in this name, this is what comes up. Like, it's that whole name, John Philip Fisher. So it's the kind of name that is like all three names. Like, because usually the middle name is kind of redundant. People don't usually mention the middle name. But it's like they've deliberately mentioned the whole name to send a clear kind of message. Like, because otherwise, why wouldn't you just put John Fisher? Then we wouldn't know who it is. It could be anyone. There's so many John Fishers in the world, but like it's deliberately placed and deliberately done to send a clear message of their stance. If it is the word honorarium, the actual definition for honorarium is a token payment made to bestow recognition to an individual for services they perform, for which payment is not required. So that's why I'm like, if that is honorarium, that is twisted. That is a very twisted and sick implication right there if it is about this John Philip Fisher. A token payment made to bestow recognition to an individual for services they perform. How did we miss this? We've missed this. There's clearly been something sadistic, twisted, messed up going on with this Balenciaga brand, and we've missed it. And not just Balenciaga, Vetements as well. Like, I haven't even spoken about Vetements yet, but Vetements are in it as well, because Demna was originally the owner and creator, co-founder of Vetements. He and his brother created that brand. I believe it was in 2014. And now he's moved on, obviously. Like, I think he like parted ways with Vediments. I don't know the history of it, but I know at some point he parted ways with Vediments to just focus on Balenciaga. But that wasn't all too long ago. If I look at this Wikipedia article, it looks like Denmark was working at Vediments from 2014 all the way through to 2019. So he was still at Vediments for a decent period of time there. Let's move along. Now, I do also want to say that Balenciaga has actually apologized. And I'm just going to put the apology on here. So it looks as though they've actually apologized. In the beginning, it seems as though they apologized for just the photo shoot with the children, but now they've actually also apologized as well for the photo shoot with that court document. So, and Kim Kardashian as well has finally put up a statement too. And I'll also put that on the screen. Now, we all know what Kim Kardashian is like. She is saying that she's going to wait to see what the brand does, if they're really like, you know, going to make sure it doesn't happen again, and all like that's the tone that she's got in this, you know, like post that she's put to finally address it. But really, all that reads to me is, and this is just my opinion, I don't want to give up all the money that they're offering me, but I'm going to wait until this all dies down, until you guys hopefully forget about it. That is exactly what I read that Kim Kardashian is saying. I'm going to talk now about the photographer. So a lot of blame has been placed on the photographer, which is Gabriele Galimberti. I believe he's definitely not complicit because he's seen these things and could have said something. But there is also some other evidence that kind of compromises him. But we'll get to that later because I just want to stay specific to this actual campaign rather than go into the other things that, you know, I sort of found out, other people have found out as well, and that sort of thing. So he, on the 23rd of November, did like some kind of press response, I suppose, if that's what you could call it, and he finally spoke out about it. And he says that he's been the target of lynching and he had no creative control over the project. To give a bit of a backstory on him, he's been featured in the National Geographic and some other magazines. Just to quote him, he says, "I must stress that I was not entitled in whatsoever manner to neither choose the products nor the models. As a photographer, I was only and solely requested to lit the given scene and take the shots according to my signature style." He also added that he had zero involvement in the shoot containing an excerpt from the 2008 US Supreme Court opinion. And he said that the photo, so we're talking about the photo with the Supreme Court documentation slipped in there as like a subliminal thing, that was attributed to American photographer Chris Maggio, however you say it. And he's yet to comment on the situation. So obviously, like I said, all the sources that I have, anything I'm quoting, any articles are all going to be linked down below in the description bar. So now back to Balenciaga and their apology. I've already put the apologies up on the screen. I also want to say that it's been reported that Balenciaga are suing the production company and the set designers, which is North 6 Inc., and not the photographers. Apparently it's for 25 million each, I think, or something like that. Like the figure's 25 million apparently. All right. Just to elaborate, North 6 Inc. is, this is what I found on Google, is a highly acclaimed global collective of producers, content creators, and thinkers with 20 years of experience. So there's some kind of production content creator company. Though that being said, like I said, Demna is not blameless in this situation because he is the creative director, and I'm sure that he has some kind of vision, and I'm sure that there is something that was inspired by this that came from Demna or the creative stylist. I want to now go on to what I was saying, I have said a few times already in this, is there is a creative stylist. So there is another kind of like side person to Demna. The main stylist for Balenciaga since 2014, her name is Lotta Volkova. Okay, so there's actually quite a few articles that kind of reference her. Lotta Volkova appears to be very twisted. She has, let's say, demonic images on her Instagram. She has images that show what look like very young boys. She also has this part where she's filmed at a juvenile facility for the Vediments campaign, and there's something that looks like there's blood on the floor. Like there are like disturbing images associated with children. She clearly likes teddy bears. So there's a lot of teddy bear attributes in her Instagram. Now, let me just say also as well, her Instagram has been turned onto private. So there is a lot of photos that have come out from her Instagram before she turned it onto private. People have gotten a lot of her photos, and this is where that credit goes to Curious Light on Twitter, who found out so much about, found a lot about her, just even with her photos and the kind of people that she's actually tagged in her photos. Okay, so I'm going to bring you to this attention of a photo that she had on her Instagram on October 2018. And it looks like, as you can see, it looks demonic, this image. And the hashtag is Moloch. So apparently this Moloch was an ancient pagan god that children were given to the pagan god for sadistic reasons. And let's just say, terror and sinister reasons. That is not the only demonic image that she's got on there, referencing to pagans and stuff like that. There's a lot on there. It's super duper twisted. You really just have to go ahead and go click on those links and the link down below, and then you'll see what I mean. Okay, someone has said that this picture of the child holding the skull is from a collection of occult books curated by Dennis Wheatley. That particular cover is Moonchild by Aleister Crowley. Apparently the picture is from the collection of occult books. That's really just a short story of it. Now, you're probably thinking, I'm talking about this person. I've said to you that she's the main stylist for Balenciaga since 2014. And I'm going to link to you the articles that are to do with this Dazed, Styled by Dazed, what actually was the company that Lotta Volkova worked for back in 2014. I don't know if she still does or if she owns it. I don't know. She's definitely in the Balenciaga team, the creative team. There's also there's a photo that she has that she had on her Instagram, and it's like a girl, looks like she's like a pageant queen. That's what it looks like. And even Marc Jacobs has commented on it, and he said, so good. So clearly she's in the fashion industry. She's a stylist, and she was also working on Vetements as well, as I said, with the juvenile facility photos. So yeah, there's a lot of information out there on her. If you want to Google her, that way you can have that reassurance that as well, that she, the information that's being said about her being linked to Balenciaga is quite evident. It's quite obvious. But yeah, there are some other really twisted photos on there. She's got photos that look like they're, BDSM gear, people with covered masks. There is also a guy on her Instagram that she's tagged before. And when you actually, and she's been in photos with him before, but when you actually click on him, it's Alban Adam. Even he, on his Instagram, he's got that picture of the Cremaster. That's the link. That's how you know that this Lotta Volkova has been responsible for these creative shoots, because there's a clear link there. She's tagged this Alban Adam on a few photos before. Clearly he's her friend or whatever, but this guy has even got a picture of the Cremaster on there. So, I mean, if that doesn't give you an obvious link, I don't know what does. Plus, she's got all this bondage, BDSM stuff. There's all this demonic. I can't even put these images up on the screen. Seriously, I'm looking at them and I can't even put them all up on the screen because the video is going to get taken down by YouTube because it's satanic. It's evil. It's demonic. There's children even implicated in these photos as well, or an implication to children. She also likes an artist called Claudia Mate, and we know this because there are some photos that she's reshared of hers. In particular, there's a photo with a girl that's showing the brain and the pineal gland, and that's actually an artist. Claudia Mate. And then if you look at Claudia Mate, her profile, she's got children doing things that adults would do. She's also quite twisted. This Claudia Mate has a photo of a shark biting a baby. I cannot believe that a brand has hired these kind of people in the name of art, is it? Because this to me is not art. This is outright child ABE material, outright child PEOs. I know I sound silly by censoring everything, but I just don't want to get this video removed because I want you guys to see all this stuff. I want you guys to see as much content as possible, and I want you to go down and look at those links. There's also another thing that was found out, that there's a photo of her with her, Karl Lagerfeld, and someone else as well. But she's actually, this Lotta Volkova is actually next to a guy called Gosha Rubchinsky. And this guy is actually, I'm not sure if he's been convicted, I don't know, but he's an alleged PEO. You know, I'm missing a letter there, right? That's what I'm saying when I'm saying PE gap O. Okay. And there are some images in here that show that he's trying to instigate with an underage boy. Okay, we're going to backtrack a bit now. These are not relative to the ad campaign, but these are all things that link into Demna, Balenciaga, Vetements, Lotta Volkova, Jeffrey Epstein, Jean-Luc Brunel. Okay, so if you don't know these people, you're going to know about them, all right? Now, Vetements Autumn-Winter 15-16 runway show. Demna held a fashion show at Le Depot, which is a gay SE club in the red light district. Now, you could perceive that as just art. Like, it's art, you know, going into an SE club to hold your fashion show. But what that says to me is there is already, from a very early stage, an obvious indication that Demna is quite SE focused. Like, there is his style is going to be SEUalized. I hate that I have to take out these letters. Otherwise, why? Like, you're holding your fashion show at a SE club in the red light district. And there's even articles that say that that's the style that Balenciaga is bringing, is that SE appeal from the street into fashion. That's what they're doing, like that whole street style kind of grungy SE appeal. And Balenciaga knows that they're hiring someone that has that kind of vision, right? There's this article that I'm going to refer to that talks about Demna's first ready-to-wear debut for Balenciaga, which is Autumn-Winter 2016. And this is where I found out that more firm information about Lotta Volkova. So it says that Styled by Dazed, which was the company, the senior contributing fashion editor, Lotta Volkova. There she is. The campaign is a stark contrast to the house's previous campaigns, not least because there are no celebrities or A-list models. So in that campaign, that the contributing fashion editor was Lotta Volkova, who worked with Demna. It was obvious that when they did their first debut that they were going to go in a different direction, this street style model. They were very young looking with like dark eyes sort of thing. Like, it was like more grungy looking. So these kind of models look like they've sort of been plucked off the street. And this is actually what Demna has said, is that that's what look that they're going for. They're going for like more of that street style aesthetic. They don't want to be using like A-list models and celebrities. They want that grungy look for Balenciaga. And this is where you really, I mean, no one's picked up on it because I just thought it's like an expression of art. But I feel like this is like that key to really starting to unlock that this has been going on at Balenciaga for a while now. Okay, so even though they'll of course deny it and say this is a one-off thing, but it's quite obvious this has been going on for a while. Maybe it just escalated because from 2016, that's when Lotta Volkova started working with Demna, and to now it's like, so how many years is that? That's 6 years. It's clearly just escalated, and they've gotten so cocky to the point where they've put these subliminal messages in. As to whether Demna shares that, look, I think he's not innocent. I don't think he is innocent at all. There's no way that he would want to hire Lotta Volkova if he didn't feel that there was something there that he could relate to. We're going to move on to, in December 2016, this is going to seem like it's unrelated, but it is. So there's an article about Midland Agency's models to watch in 2017. And this is where I got it from the Memory Hold, his video. At least 2 of them were from MC2 Model Management, which was the Jean-Luc Brunel founded model management company, which was financed by Jeffrey Epstein. So Jeffrey Epstein was actually good friends with this Jean-Luc Brunel. You can kind of see what those models sort of look like, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, they look like that street style look, the style that Balenciaga is using, like Demna's using on the runway. They've got like that gaunt sort of dark eyes. Now, this company is actually founded and owned by Rachel Chandler and also Walter Pierce. Now, Rachel Chandler was allegedly Jeffrey Epstein's like of being able to pull in these girls because they were coming into her modeling agency. This is all alleged. This is very much alleged. Okay, so these are just things that kind of link in. All right. Now, let me just leave that sitting there because you're thinking, okay, that's not proof that Balenciaga was using those models. No, it's not. That's not. That's just saying that these look similar to the kind of models that Balenciaga is using on their runway since 2016. Now, let's go to March 2017. There's actually an article that talks about this model, Jane Moseley. And this model's first big break was her walk for Balenciaga in autumn-winter 2016. This was Demna's big debut for Balenciaga, and this model got to do her first big break on it. Now, listen to this, first big break. She'd never actually been a model before, but she was friends with Rachel Chandler. So Rachel Chandler has been able to get her into the first ever model gig. She's never modeled before, and it's the debut for Balenciaga Autumn Winter 2016 with Demna as a creative director. If that doesn't tell you that Rachel Chandler, her Midlands agency model, had major swing with Demna and Balenciaga and that her models were being used in Balenciaga, then I don't know what doesn't tell you that, because that's quite clear that there's no way that a noob model who's never done modeling could debut on an autumn winter major fashion house like Balenciaga. Like, there's no way. Why would you get a model that's never done modeling before? But this Rachel Chandler managed to do it. She managed to get her onto this runway show for autumn winter 2016, which was Demna's debut. And like I said, the Midlands agency models, at least two of them in that previous article, were from the MC2 model management, funded by Jeffrey Epstein and owned by Jean-Luc Brunel. Now, let's talk about Jean-Luc Brunel, so that way you can understand why he's actually a big deal as well. So Jean-Luc Brunel, there's actually an article where 6 models speak against him for AB. They were AB'd by him. And like I said, Jean-Luc Brunel was Jeffrey Epstein's friend, and he was financing Jean-Luc Brunel's modeling company, MC2. These models were actually sent, though, these models, they weren't actually Jean-Luc Brunel's MC2 model management company. They were sent by a company called Image Modeling Agency, IMG Modeling Agency. So I'm going to have the article linked down below. A particular model told the modeling agency, IMG Modeling Agency, who sent her to Paris to go and meet Jean-Luc Brunel, and Jeffrey Epstein happened to be there as well, apparently. She told the agency what they were trying to get her to do. She was underage as well. She was under adult age. The agency just pretty much disregarded her and continued to still send models to Jean-Luc Brunel, knowing very well what had been reported that she suffered at the hands of them. Another thing, okay? All right, so it says here in an article in July 2021, there's an article about politicians' children, mainly about Hunter Biden. But then at the bottom of the article, it says Ella Emhoff, which is Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, gets an IMG modeling contract. And lo and behold, she gets to walk for Balenciaga. So the stepdaughter of Kamala Harris is working for IMG modeling. She's got an IMG modeling contract, and she gets sent to go and do Balenciaga runway show. But I just said to you that this IMG modeling agency knew about the offering when they were being sent to Jean-Luc Brunel in Paris. So that's not implicating Kamala Harris, but it's also showing that where money is involved, people turn a blind eye. Like I said, all the articles are going to be linked down below, so that way you can make more sense of all of this. It's a lot of reading material. Let me tell you, it's a lot. And this video is going on way too long. Okay, now I'm going to start to sort of wrap this up, because this is most of the kind of things that sort of have some sort of link. But I also want to point out that this is one of the things that Memory Hold said, that in Vetements in 2017, they got in trouble because they were selling a necklace that appeared to endorse or glamorize drug use. So it was a necklace that you opened it up and there was a little tiny spoon inside, hidden inside the necklace, kind of like a pendant sort of thing, in 2017. And that is a symbol. That was only like a year after he had already been working for Balenciaga, but he'd already owned Vetements since 2014. But this is that analogy that where it's like you've got a hidden hidden kind of message in there. It's like, it's not just a necklace, it's also can be used for drug use. And also like the bear, it's not just a bear, it's a BDSM bear. As well with Lotte Volkova, she's been the senior contributing fashion editor since 2014 and one of the main stylists since 2014. So the main stylist would mean that she is definitely a part of these photo shoots. And I bet you guys want to know, where do I stand on this? Like, I feel like it's quite obvious. This is wrong, 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 wrong. Children do not belong in the fashion industry in adult depictions. If you want to have children in the fashion industry, they should only be there to model children's clothing. And that's it. For children's toys, literally children's toys. None of this shit where it's not just a bear, you know what I mean? I think this whole video speaks for itself. I want you guys to have a look at all the links. The other thing as well that I wanted to mention that I forgot, this Gabriele Galimberti, he's claiming innocence, but there's a photo that's been found of him where he says, so let me quote it right so I don't misquote people. I don't like when I misquote people. Okay, why restrict child PO but not? And this is him commenting on an article that was on the Chicago Sun-Times. This was July, just this year. So I don't think that makes him innocent. If he is willing to speak that there's a comparison there, you cannot compare because they're different. And they're both bad. And you cannot say you can't have one without the other, or that you do this to one, but you should do this to, like, it's just not comparable, okay? Okay, I think I'm tired, I'm exhausted. It's taken me way too long to film. Yes, I am telling you guys that I would boycott Balenciaga. I am boycotting Balenciaga. You know what? Thankfully enough, I don't have anything Balenciaga. Actually, I have not owned anything Balenciaga in a long time. I sold all my Balenciaga stuff a long time ago. I haven't bought anything Balenciaga for a good solid, I think, 2 years now. I'm not into them, actually. I feel like I liked some of their stuff, like a little bit of it, but a lot of it I always felt turned off by their runway shows. And I felt there was always something sinister and weird about them. Like, they just didn't sit well with me. Was it maybe it was mother's intuition the whole time that there was something sinister going on with that company? And Vetements as well, because, I mean, Demna did own Vetements. And but yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say. I just want to hear your guys' opinion. How do you feel? Like, put your comments down below. Let's get talking, because there is just so much information there. Like, this is a situation. Like, this is a big situation, because this is a major fashion house that's been taking our money for years, selling us products under the guise of fashion, but it's not. Like, there is a whole subliminal message going on here. You see it in their photos. You see those subliminal messages. And how long have they been slipping this into their photos for? Because Balenciaga tends to delete their campaigns every time they run a campaign, I noticed. That's kind of what happens. So you don't really get to see all their old past campaign photos. Oh, that's the other thing as well, that there's this talk that Balenciaga deleted their Twitter over this whole controversy, but no, they deleted their Twitter when Elon Musk took over. Like, the day after Elon Musk took over Twitter, they deleted their Twitter. Right, that's it. I'm wrapping up this video. Leave your comments down below. Let's get a discussion happening, and take care. Please look after our children, because we are the only ones that can. Adults are the only ones that can look after the kids. They can't. They don't know. They don't understand. Like, I'm just thinking of these poor kids. They just did not know what was going on. But speaking of, I can hear my son coming in. So that's it. Thank you, guys. We'll speak in the comments. Bye. Yeah.
All Balenciaga was doing was testing the waters. If you think this is a mistake by any chance, you are part of the problem in society. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss the entire Balenciaga scandal that occurred a few days ago. This is really big, like really, really big. It's not a joke. It should not be minimized in any way. It's very, very serious. So I'm going to tell you why they did this, what it really means, and what you can do about it. Because I know so many times when scandals occur, we always wonder, like, how does this actually affect my everyday life? Well, this one does. And there are several things that you can actually do about it to make the world a better place. So stay tuned for that towards the end of the video. So I'm just going to get right into it. Balenciaga is satanic. I don't have time to play word games. And when I say satanic, I'm not using that as a metaphor for evil. I mean, literally, they go to some undisclosed places and worship Satan, the one that was cast from heaven, the living being that is on earth. A lot of people do this. Famous fashion houses like Balenciaga, singers, actors. I've heard testimonies from former people that used to be in these secret cults that even everyday people like doctors and lawyers also worship the devil for fame and or riches. So if you like to live in a la la land and pretend like all this stuff doesn't exist, good for you. Continue. So let's start by looking at the ads that sparked outrage and seeing what's actually in them. So they had several pictures of children, and you can already see these children are standing in weird positions, standing on the bed, standing on the couch. When you look closely, you see they have these weird teddy bears that are dressed in bondage gear. So for those of you that are blessed to not know what bondage gear is, it's basically some very weird type of sex that people have where they need to be tied up, whipped and chained, and there's some element of pain incorporated for so-called sexual pleasure. This was the same thing that was famously in the movie 50 Shades of Grey. I've never watched that, but I've heard about it. Now you tell me, why are these teddy bears dressed in bondage gear, a sexual erotic thing, and why are the children holding the teddy bears in this ad? You know what? It must be a coincidence. There's no way that this was purposeful. You know, the people that must have picked out the props for this photograph must have definitely been blind and deaf, because how else could this have happened? Now, it doesn't even just stop there. Look again, and you'll see that in this picture, there are wine glasses and suggestions of alcohol all around it. Children shouldn't have anything to do with wine glasses. If you're promoting adult content with alcohol, a child should not be anywhere in that ad. Also note how the same white bunny rabbit is in each and every one of these photographs. While this white bunny rabbit symbolizes something very sickening. The white bunny is a symbol of purity and is often used to represent the embodiment of childlike qualities, such as curiosity and wonder. In Western cultures, the white bunny is often seen as a symbol of innocence. So every detail in this ad has a not-so-secret symbol of sexual child abuse. And it doesn't even stop there. It gets even worse. So they also posted this photo of a bag laying down on a bunch of documents. Now, some people on the internet looked closely at this document and they found something even more disturbing, which was the document in this photo is actually court documents from the case called Ashcroft versus Free Speech, which was basically a court case in which it was argued whether virtual child pornography, yes, you heard that right, counts as actual child porn, or if it is covered under the First Amendment right of free speech. Because the plaintiffs in the case argued that if you create virtual child pornography or depictions of children in a sexual way, let's say through means of graphic design, for example, then it shouldn't count as real child porn because no actual children are being harmed in the process, even though that's not true. Even depicting that kind of stuff is harmful to the real children around people. It further pushes them to go attack real children. Unfortunately, that case was actually won. That's the kind of world we live in. So let's look at these fake apologies that were dropped over the following days by Balenciaga and the actual photographer that took these photos. We'll start with Balenciaga. We sincerely apologize for any offense our holiday campaign may have caused. Our plush bear bag should not have been featured with children in this campaign. We have immediately removed the campaign from all platforms. We apologize for displaying unsettling documents in our campaign. We take this matter very seriously and are taking legal actions against the parties responsible for creating the set and including unapproved items for our Spring 23 campaign photo shoot. We strongly condemn abuse of children in any form. We stand for children's safety and well-being. Before I break down what a load of garbage that is, now let's look at the photographers. Following the hundreds of hate mail and messages I received as a result of the photos I took for the Balenciaga campaign, I feel compelled to make this statement. I am not in a position to comment Balenciaga's choice, but I must stress that I was not entitled in whatsoever manner to neither choose the products nor the models nor the combination of the same. As a photographer, I was only and solely requested to lit the given scene and take the shots according to my signature style. As usual for commercial shooting, the direction of the campaign and the choice of the objects displayed are not in the hands of the photographer. I suspect that any person prone to pedophilia searches on the web and has unfortunately a too easy access to images completely different than mine. Absolutely explicit and awful content. Accusations like these are addressed against wrong targets and distract from the real problem and criminals. Also, I have no connection with the photo where a Supreme Court document appears. That one was taken on another set by other people and was falsely associated with my photos. As a photographer, he does prove a point that you don't plan the campaign, you only photograph. Great, he's right. This is 100% Balenciaga's plan and execution. However, there are two things here. Number one, are you blind? Are you deaf? Unless you tell me you are blind and deaf, there's no way that you get to this set, you see the kids, you see these disgusting teddy bears, you see the champagne glasses, you see the chains and all of that, and you don't tell yourself, something's off here. You know what? I'm not going to participate in this for my own brand. I'm not about this. I'm not taking these pictures. Y'all can go find someone else. You don't say, why are these kind of teddy bears and adult products being featured with children? You don't say anything. You don't do anything. Yeah, accountability is there for you. And I'm not shocked because these type of people are morally bankrupt. They don't care. Now, all of a sudden that it's a scandal, you now recognize its connections to child pedophilia. But if we, the consumers, did not even realize this kind of stuff, you would have never said anything. And also, when I went on his Instagram page, I was further disturbed because there seems to be a series he does with children, taking them standing up on beds or other things randomly. And I'm sorry, I tend to look at stuff like this sideways because I understand some people will say this is creative. Oftentimes, being creative is used as an excuse for why people are straight up weirdos. I'm not accusing him of anything. I don't know. But what I do know is that photographers in the modeling industry, some of them can be very sexually perverted. It's nothing new. You hear this happening with models where they testify how the photographer was touching them inappropriately, propositioned them to sleep with them, and all kind of shenanigans. Some of these models are 12, 13, 14, 15. They're not all 25. Modeling usually starts at a very young age and even lower than that. So unfortunately, it's a real reality of photographers participating in perversion. So I'm not accusing anybody. All I'm saying is I wouldn't be shocked. Now let's move on to Balenciaga's fake apology. They are only suing and trying to shift blame, not because they think someone else is guilty, but simply to only pretend that this is not their fault. They are trying to save face to the consumer. I have a master's in marketing. I work in marketing. I know how these things go. There is nothing in a marketing campaign that is not purposely thought out. Even these dumb ads that you watch all the time, they are planned out where every single thing has a meaning. The slogan, the song choice, the model or actor choice, the clothes they're going to wear, the colors that are chosen are all meant to represent subliminal meanings all the time. Now, not all the time the subliminal meaning is dark. Sometimes they're like, okay, we're going to choose yellow because yellow is a happy color. Sometimes it's just like that. Other times, as we can see with Balenciaga, it goes deeper. So the idea that they don't know, absolutely not. Even when companies hand off marketing to external marketing agencies, they still have the control. There's only two things that happen. Either that company tells the marketing agency exactly what they want, and that marketing agency executes that and brings the finished product back to the company for the company to say yes or no, I want these changes. Or the marketing company will pitch ideas to you and you look at it and you sign off on what you approve. With a brand like Balenciaga, a very big luxury brand with billions of dollars, there's no way they're relinquishing control of their brand to someone else to handle without their involvement. Absolutely not. They planned this. If you think this is a mistake by any chance, you are part of the problem in society. All Balenciaga was doing was testing the waters. They were like, let's see if anybody's going to notice. Let's slide it through the cracks in the continued effort to normalize pedophilia. And this time it sparked outrage, which let them know it's still a little too early. And when you're in cahoots with the devil, you have to fulfill your end of the bargain. The end of the bargain is to do stuff like this to push satanic agendas while you collect your money. Simple as that. This is not the first time I've heard about something like this. I also heard about this with Louis Vuitton, where I was seeing like a video or an article or something that was talking about the subliminal messages of child sex trafficking within Louis Vuitton's like ad campaigns, runway campaigns, and all of that stuff. So now seeing Balenciaga do something something as explicit like this kind of just confirmed it for me. The normalization of sexualizing children is going on like crazy all around us. Have you heard of the movie Cuties by Netflix? That was a movie that caused great controversy because it depicted little girls in very sexual ways. Here are some pictures from that movie. I even feel weird even showing them, but it's important for people to see exactly what's going on. Now, they claimed that this movie wasn't meant to glorify sexualizing children, but it was rather meant to bring awareness to how the culture can affect kids. That's a lie. Because if you really want to help kids, you know that the way to not do it is to do stuff like this that adds fuel to the fire of people that are looking for exactly this kind of content. You talk about it, you speak up about it. You can talk about real life examples, but to create a movie and publish it like this, and all these children are being exploited. The children in these movies, the children in these ads, their parents just offer them up to be exploited for financial gain. These children can't really make a choice of your own. How would you feel when you look back and you saw yourself do a disgusting movie like this, or you're part of a disgusting ad campaign like this, and it wasn't your choice? Your parents took you there so they can get some cash. This is why kids in Hollywood are so messed up, because their parents sell their souls for them all the time. I even saw this on an episode of Dr. Phil one time. They had a whole episode dedicated to what they call, I believe, minor attracted persons, where they were trying to argue the case that it's not somebody's fault that they are attracted to little kids. It's out of their control, but there are good people that don't act on it. Does this sound familiar?
You can't pray the gay away, and neither can you get rid of pedophilia, but you don't have to act on it.
What they're basically using is the born this way argument, the same argument that was used for homosexuality. And I was actually shocked because I was like, wait a minute. What is Dr. Phil trying to do here? Because in that episode, it seemed that he was trying to indirectly suggest that this is a legitimate mental illness, as they call it. That's how homosexuality started as well. They started by categorizing it as a mental illness and saying that people were born that way, but there's something off. Then it went from being a mental illness to full on being celebrated and saying, you know what, it's not even a mental illness anymore. This is something I should do and ain't nothing wrong with it. This is a similar path. Add all of this to the fact that there are literal drag queens going in kindergarten to have interaction with the kids. I don't care if it's innocently reading them a story. That's how it starts. They're making the first introduction. And I'm going to do a whole video on that nonsense. Also paired with the fact that Ketanji Brown, the new Supreme Court justice that was put on by Biden, I saw a clip of the hearing that they did before she was hired. And what stood out to me was the fact that it was pointed out she had been lenient on child pornography crimes. She didn't even deny it. This is what she said.
What I'd like to answer is your points about my sentencings in child pornography cases. On the internet, with one click, you can receive, you can distribute tens of thousands. You can be doing this for 15 minutes, and all of a sudden, you are looking at 30, 40, 50 years in prison.
Good. This is what happens when you remove God from the picture and people go on to serve themselves. You know how people say, I'm going to do me, you do you, and I'll do me? This is the results of that. This is the results of breaking down definitions of gender, of marriage, and allowing people to create whatever truth they want. If you accept arguments like love is love, which I wrote a whole post about, which I'm going to link in the description box, the errors in this love is love quote. If you can accept things like a whole man being a legitimate woman, why wouldn't you accept the fact that some people are just born that way and find themselves attracted to kids? They can't help it. You know, they're the victims, right? That's where we're going. And if you don't believe it, just look at history. The idea that we would have she, her in our bios and in our emails and all of that would have been thought to be impossible just 30, 40, 50 plus years ago. They would have been like, that is crazy. That would never happen. So if you feel the same thing about pedophilia being normalized, just know that it has already been normalized in periods before us. It was very normalized. It's only in more recent history that it was unnormalized. Actually, thanks to Christianity, with Christian missionaries going to these places and telling them about about their sins and wrongful ways. And now, as the Bible tells us, we will be reverting right back to those sick days. We're already on the fast track there. The Bible says in the last days, it will be worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. It will be just like the days of Noah. The days of Noah were so bad that God destroyed the entire earth. And it says that he actually regretted creating human beings and they could not think one good thought. That's how corrupted they had become. A lot of people these days don't even realize that they are corrupted, especially Christians. I want to focus on Christians because if someone is not a Christian, it's completely understandable their state of mind and their world beliefs. But when you are a Christian, and you should know better because you know the one who is greater, but you still buy into these lies and nonsense, that is a real problem. If you believe anyone is born this way, that is very blasphemous. If you believe that the perpetrators are actually the victims in this world, your mind is already corrupted. If you believe something like homosexuality is harmless, your mind is already corrupted. You've already been bought into that lie. So you need to wake up, you need to pray, and you need to get into your word. So what can you do about this situation to make sure things like this don't happen? I've got 4 simple tips for you. Number 1, stop giving your money to these brands. Most of us can't afford Balenciaga. That's kind of the problem with this whole situation, that the ones who can afford Balenciaga are also in cahoots with exactly the same thing that Balenciaga is doing. But not only Balenciaga is part of these things. Netflix, for creating movies like Cuties. You might think, oh, it's just my subscription. I'm not watching these things. I'm going to go watch, Christmas cookie sprinkles. It doesn't matter. Your monthly payment that you give them is funding. That's where they get the money from. You are literally funding them to create garbage, to create blasphemy. Netflix is so anti-God. They literally had a show on there. I don't even know if it's still there, where they depicted Jesus as a homosexual. If you say that you love God, this is unacceptable for you to be giving your money to such a place. There's a lot of Christian things that could use that. I don't know if it's $9.99 or I think it's even like $12 these days. There's a lot of good things that could be used towards that money. Stop being dependent on these things. A lot of people are dependent on Netflix. You don't have to watch Netflix. There's so many alternatives, and you probably shouldn't be watching 99% of the stuff on Netflix anyway. I don't have Netflix. I don't have Disney Plus. If I could afford it, I would not be having any Balenciaga or stuff like that. Number 2, stop being distracted. The Bible says in 1 Peter 5 verse 8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. If you sit around and allow yourself to be distracted by junk 24/7, the devil's agenda will creep up on you and punch you in the face. And this is a wake-up call that we all need. I've had to give myself the wake-up call, people around me. Sometimes we live our life where we're just, we go to work, we eat, we watch Netflix, we go to work, we eat, we watch Netflix, we do things that don't sharpen us as a human being, things that don't sharpen our mind. Spend your time watching and participating in valuable things. Read your Bible, have more Christian connections. We all watch TV from time to time, but look at what you're watching. Look at the moral standard of what you're watching. Have some standards. Don't just watch anything. That's the problem with people. They'll watch anything and be like, oh, it's just a movie. Yeah, it's just a movie that's depraving your mind. Number 3, don't ever in your life call someone a minor attracted person. You are part of the very problem. That means you bought into the lie. When you're doing that, that means you are co-signing the agenda and you're part of it. When you open Pandora's box, it will always grow into a beast. To be honest, I don't really expect things to change or revert back because the Bible already says that it won't. But what's important is that people wake up and don't be the 5 sleeping virgins. Number 4, speak up and use your voice against these things. There are too many Christians in the closet. There are too many people who know better but won't say anything, won't do anything. Revelation 21 verse 7 8 points out how the cowardly shall not inherit the kingdom of God. And the cowardly are placed in the same category as the unbelieving, abominable, murderers, and sexually immoral. So it's that serious to God, because the mark of the beast is in your forehead and your hand. Forehead represents your mind, hand represents your actions. So you can believe in all the good things of God, but when your actions are showing differently, that means you don't really believe. So I'm not saying you have to go attack people or make noise, but you know those points points where it really, really matters, you know, you feel it inside of you when you're like, I need to say something and you don't. That is cowardness. For example, I work, and in my workplace, I don't care who has she, her, he, him in their emails. I don't have she, her in my email. If you see my name, if you see my picture and don't know if I'm a she, he, then you can figure out how to refer to me. But I'm not participating in the agenda. We should respect all people, but we need to stick to our morals and not other people's morals. So if that's your morals and what you want to do, great. Don't expect me to be co-signing it and participating because it's not happening. So that's it for this video. And again, if you think that this is no big deal and it was just an accident and Balenciaga, you know, how could this possibly have happened? Good for you, continue. But for everyone else, they've showed you their hand. They've showed you exactly what they're about and what they're working with. If you continue, that's on you. You can never say you didn't know from this point. That's it for this video. Please like and share this video because it's a very important message that does need to get out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Wow, my. Well, family, as I put in the chat, that was the last one for tonight. We have some very interesting information to bring to you on Monday night. And I thank you for being with us. God bless you. Stick to the word. Peace and blessings.